you go. The Amazing Kreskin, everybody. How are you? Nice to see you, man. How are you?
You know, I got to say something. Whoever the writers are, I mean, you can tell that this crew here, they're good people. They're flaky, but they're good people. I'm watching. I'm in the. They'll take the control. I'm laughing. Well, let's see if you have Kreskin's ability. They threw the object at the floor. And by the way, the guy wasn't hurt. He's hospitalized because he has a concussion. But when that object, that was a funny bit.
He's awesome. Man, you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, I'm 72 years old, and I started performing professionally. I was 12 years old. Got big money then. $5 a show. $5 a show.
Wow.
But I started working at my craft when I was 9 years old.
Okay, what is a mentalist?
Well, for me, it's changed today because a lot of magic acts are supposedly doing things that look like mind reading and so forth, and that's what caused me to make a prediction about some reality shows on television, and there's a strange story behind it. But for me, George, when I was 9 years old, they played the game hot and cold. They hit something. Remember, folks, you hide something and you walk around, they see you're getting warm, you're getting cold, people raising their hands. Yeah. And Miss Curtis in grade school, third grade, I wasn't picked, and it was raining outside. I want to play this. So I went home and I said to my brother, 3 years younger, let's go over to Grandma. My mother was at shopping. Let's go over to Grandpa's house. They were from Sicily, didn't speak English, loved them dearly. Old house they built. I said, hide a penny upstairs. And so help me, George. My brother said, okay. And I walk upstairs and I walk through the kitchen and I climb up a chair in my Uncle Charlie's bedroom. He was at work, and I reached behind a curtain rod and suddenly felt the penny. And then I realized I forgot to tell my brother to talk to me. He never spoke to me. My grandmother, of course, must have thought I had the evil eye. She's Italian, you know. Mm-hmm. And the family got around it, and my teacher, Miss Galloway, who's still alive, in 4th and 6th grade, had me practice every show and tell on Friday, reading the thoughts of my classmates.
This is what I wonder, man. You know, you're growing up, everybody growing up has that moment where they don't feel like they're the same. You don't feel normal. You feel like you're disconnected from the people around you. A lot of adults feel that way.
But especially young people, especially when you're in your teens and so forth.
So if you're that guy and you're sitting there going, wow, this is really awful. I know what they're saying about me because I can read their minds.
Like, no, they have to cooperate. What happened was, there was one bad point in my life, and I don't get confused. I had 2 girlfriends, Nancy and Shirley, and there was no cheating.
It's At the same time?
Yeah, but that's all right. These were not. I was in my early teens. But no, wait a minute.
I'm not judging.
Now we're coming out with the psychoanalyst, George. But anyway, in my early teens, the phone would ring and I'd say, "Hi, Ed." There was no caller ID. "Hi, Fred." "Hi, Nancy." And I started noticing, thank God, that there was a long pause before they answered. Nobody wants to suddenly know, my God, he knows immediately, because there's no caller ID then. And I realized I can't do this all the time. I was getting hyper. I'd say, my teachers would say, I had teachers that believed in me. They said, "You didn't cheat on the test, did you?" I wasn't cheating, but they said, because you knew the answer, and that more of the answer than was in the book. So they thought I was reading their thoughts. That was the whole beginning of it. And then the hot and cold thing. I'm going to do this tomorrow night at is it Roy Johnson Hall? Did I say Roy? It's Roy Thomas, some mentalist. But anyway, I take my check in every show. Mm-hmm. And there's nobody in the world doing this legitimately. I turn it over to a committee from the audience. I leave the building, and the committee hides my check anywhere in the theater. And when I come back, I don't ask you questions. I just say, focus on what you did. And I walk through and if I do not physically find my check, I don't get paid. Now, I failed 9 times. In New Zealand, I lost in one night $51,000.
Bad decision. Wow.
But I have found it. My favorite story is Bob Hope. It was the first time we got to know each other. He was at dinner in his honor, 1,500 people at the Waldorf, mainly broadcasters, television, radio, press, and they hid my check. And Hope always used to say to me, "Kreskin, you didn't know me then. I was looking at the chandelier, and he said, I didn't want anybody to think I was helping you. I'm roaming through the place. I go up to the dais, and there's this table here. Hope was between Walter Cronkite and everybody else. And I kept reaching between them and reaching this giant tray. It had more food. I guess if you wanted, you could get it. And I put it down, and I kept doing it. And I said to the lady who hit, I said, "You know where this is?" And she had a right to be just. She says, "Of course I do." She was annoyed. I looked at her and said, "Oh, no. took my jacket off, rolled up my sleeve, and shoved my hand into the stuffing. They had cooked it, the stuffing of the turkey. But at the University of Alabama, 8,000 people, it was a family night, and I walk up to a man in a suit, and I said, "Sir, I don't understand. Would you open your mouth?" And he did. No check. I said, "Does this have to do with the roof of your mouth?" He reached and took out his upper plates, and there was the check. Yeah. So I found it all over the world. And you know, sure, people can rig things. They can have electronic devices, but it has to do with the way I sense people think.
Well, the thing is, obviously, you know, over your course of your career, there'll be people who look at what you do and go, "This guy's amazing," and it's in your name, and there are other people who don't believe what you're going to do. But here's one thing. I want to show this book here. Let's put this book up if we can. The Amazing Kreskin's Future with the Stars.
Behind that, yeah.
So this is a book that you did with other stars, Tom Hanks, Greenspan, OJ.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This book came out, when did it come out?
We debuted it on CNN 2001, the first day of 2000, the first day of the year.
And January 1st, 2001, in this book, you said what?
Well, everybody else predicted their future. Roger Ailes, the future of television, Regis, how things are going to change in broadcasting. And the last 2 pages, my first prediction was, we're at war. The world doesn't know we're at war. It's a war of terrorism and can develop into biological warfare. Now, a show in the States called Celebrity Justice last November played this moment. And I can't look at it because I suddenly interrupted the gal on camera and said, and I don't know why the hell I'm saying this, but there could be a disaster in September involving 4 airlines. I've never looked at it again. I can't look at it anymore. And needless to say,
you called 9/11 on TV like you called it.
Yeah, and the CIA, I spent a week with them after that, and the FBI. And I spent 5 years touring the Middle East. George, the gentleman you had earlier, it was, if the powers that be at this station have any wisdom, they should extract that and show that in some kind of other setting so people can listen to what the man had to say. It's been said before, the only thing we ever learn from history is that we never learn from history. The handwriting's on the wall. He is right. I said I would never say this publicly, but since he's hinted it, I was wrong when I said the war would last 6 years. It's going to last about 3 generations. The longest wars in history are religious wars. Study history.
Let's hope.
I'm sorry, but you know what?
Okay. But
we go on with life.
That's right.
We go on with life. And this guy is a character.
No.
He is
Listen, what are you going to do? I want you to sit back. What we're going to do is, when we come back from the commercial break, the Amazing Kreskin is going to work his wares on me and on the audience. All right, you ready for it? Kreskin, when the hour returns. You are back here on the air with the Amazing Kreskin tomorrow night. 2.5-hour concert performing at the Roy Thompson Hall, where when I was 15, I was an usher for one night.
Were you an usher there?
For one night.
Regis was an usher at CBS
was
before
he
you worked in television.
Listen, you're going to do something on me right now, but I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to ask you this as a friend, okay?
All right.
If you're going to read my mind, I don't know if you can or not, but there are things in here that don't say stuff if you find it that shouldn't be on TV, okay?
That kills it. I intended to reveal everything, guys.
All right.
You know what?
Right,
how many of you, just by your hands, because I know you're college students and going to school, and I do 100 and some colleges every year, how many of you have played some kind of poker in your life? Just raise your hand or know about poker. Look at this. When I was a kid, there was 2 of us. Put your hand down. I just asked you. No. George, we haven't prearranged anything, have we?
No, we haven't done anything at all. I wouldn't lie to the audience.
I don't know. I'm going to let George pick whom, but I want to show you an experiment because you stay right there. I'll take the jokers out. George, seriously, do you play, and by the way, it's a regular card. Do you play poker at all? Do you
play poker. I play more euchre, but I play poker.
Euchre is the game that preceded bridge.
I love euchre.
That is a with right and left bower. My God, that's a fabulous game. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I don't want any camera behind George. And folks, I've taken the jokers out. The cards are shuffled. George, just take 3 cards together. Just take 3 together. Just take 3.
Yeah,
just take them.
Right,
take them right
here.
Right, take them out.
Okay.
Take them out.
1, 2, okay.
Right. Now hold them towards you, face you. Fan them out so you can see them.
So I can see them?
Yeah, you can. Now, George, as you look at the cards, think of one of the cards and just take it out and hold it behind you, if you will. Just put them all behind you.
Put them all behind me.
Yeah, just put them all behind you.
Okay.
Yeah. And now here's what I want to do. George, you have all the cards behind you?
I do.
Now, folks, I just want you to understand this because George is going to pick someone amongst you in the audience. You don't have to know anything about cards, but if I can set these down right here, I have a second deck of cards here. He has a thought in his mind. I don't know what it is just yet, but I'm going to have to in some way telegraph. I've taken the jokers. George, would you point out in our audience someone whom you do not know? They could just stand up wherever you are.
The girl in the back with the hat.
Would you come over here, ma'am?
The one
Would
in
you
the
come
back.
over here, ma'am, please?